Well, today I got to do a little maintenance work on my Ryobi chainsaw. This is the 12-inch 40-volt chainsaw. So first thing I'm going to do is just go out and blow it all off, but it's getting plugged up, so I need to clean the bar and grease this wheel at the end, make sure it's good, and basically just clean it all up, and then we'll sharpen the chainsaw blade. So hang in there with me. Okay, so I just took it outside, took my air compressor to it, blew it all off, and it does look better, of course. But now we're going to take it apart and wipe it all down, clean it up. So in case you hadn't noticed, it has the wrench right here to take the chain loose and adjust the tension. Most of the time you'll find those and they don't want to stay put where they're designed to go in, but this one does a real good job of staying put. So you saw me take that nut loose. Ta-da-ta-da, it's right there. There's the nut. Take the cover loose. Take the chain off. Take the bar off. And then we just get to clean up. So I'll be right back. You know, I might as well show you the cleaning. So I've just been wiping this down. I have a little brush here, brushing it out. So, just put the chain onto the bar. These little prongs go in this little gap here in the bar. Prong here into the little groove. And then you have to get the chain into this gear right in here, because that's what actually makes it turn. Alright, so got the chain and the bar back in place. Put a cover in. You have to wiggle it around until this little screw, the tensioner screw, fits into the hole in the bar. And we can put the nut back on. Most chainsaws have two nuts here, which makes a lot of sense to me, because if one comes loose, it isn't all loose. But this is such a little guy, they only have one nut here. So just holding the bar up so the chain will be tighter, and that's actually about where you want it, maybe a slight bit tighter than that. And to tighten it, loosen the nut a little bit and take this screw and tighten it, and you'll see the chain actually jumped up there, and then just tighten it back down. But you don't want it too tight. That's actually pretty good. You don't want it too tight or it creates too much friction, especially as it heats up. As it changes temperatures, it'll tighten or loosen. Okay, so sharpening your chainsaw is very, very simple. The hardest thing to do is simply to know what angle you need to cut the bevels or sharpen the bevels out. So let's take a quick look at that. So it's hard to see because this thing doesn't do a good close-up, but this is beveled across here. Now my chainsaw needs a 30-degree bevel, okay? So down at Home Depot, I bought this little guy. It actually comes in this case. It's a 5/32 file, and you'll see different lines here. Those are different angles, and it'll tell you what angle it needs to be at. So these are the 30-degree. So when you take it to sharpen it, you're going to lay it across in that tooth. So see the tooth. The file goes in that tooth. And then you see, line that line up. This little guy right. It's hard to do this with one hand. This little line right here with the bar. And that means that your file is at a 30-degree angle compared to the chainsaw bar. Okay? And, all right. So when you line up your file, you always stroke towards the tip of the tooth. You don't pull it back against that. You file towards the tip of the tooth. Do 3 or 4 very firm, smooth strokes on each tooth. Okay? You'll go all the way around. In fact, you want to take a little felt tip pin and mark that tooth, and then you'll just slide it around and go to every tooth that's facing the same direction. Now, half of them face the other direction. So with it, you come from the other side and you do exactly the same thing. Lay it in at a 30, line up with a 30-degree angle, and then 3 solid strokes. Now, I'm not doing very solid strokes here because I've already sharpened this blade. And you just pull this through and go through every blade, every tooth that faces the same way. Now, you want to make sure you do it evenly. If you sharpen one side sharper, then the chainsaw will pull that direction. So you don't want it uneven. It needs to be even on both directions. Okay? But that's really all there is to it. On my maintenance, I'm going to drop some oil on here, but the bar oil comes in here and gets in there mostly, but because I have it nice and cleaned up, and that is a good grade oil. It's not sewing machine oil. You don't want to use sewing machine oil because, well, not sewing machine. This is sewing machine. You don't want to use like a 3-in-1 oil because it actually leaves a sticky residue. There's a little hole on each side, so I am just making sure that that oil gets onto both sides. So one more thing to do, and that is the oil. So the oil right here, this is where you're filling it with oil. Very important to keep that filled with oil, but it doesn't hold very much oil. Because it doesn't hold very much oil, you want to kind of go slow on it and keep checking. And going to leave it right there. Cap it back up, turn it over, and it is full. All right, so we have completed our maintenance on the saw. We've cleaned it all out in here, so there's nothing causing it to bind or gunk up. We've oiled the end gear, we've sharpened the chain, we've added oil to the reservoir, and we are ready to go. Brum brum. Okay, well, you have a great day, and we'll see you shortly.